She went from being a very outgoing, she's had her whole life had the same friends group and family group in the area to being in a completely new place. And then when she got to punch the pads for the first time, man, the look on her face is something that will stay with me only because she became like, she knew at that moment I came. She felt different and empowered. That right there is how we know this was the right path for her. We needed her to have a goal that was specifically hers. So her friend group has become more of the people like her who are motivated, who are self-driven individuals, who they respect pretty much everybody.
If a parent is listening right now, what's the biggest change you've seen in Elise since starting first with me and then moving on? But what's kind of the biggest change you've seen?
Confidence in her own ability to stand her ground, not physically, but with speaking up, advocating for herself, advocating for others, as well as the confidence to know that even if others do not either understand or support her decision, if she has done her due diligence with herself and education as well as practice, she knows that she can stand with her head high and know that it is a good decision for her.
Okay. So she kind of like knows like her own values, her own like kind of maybe self-worth a little bit, like
definitely self-worth.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we moved at a very critical time in her age, right? We moved when she was 10.
Okay.
She went from being a very outgoing, she's had her whole life had the same friends group and family group in the area to being in a completely new place and a very different culture. And you could see where with us, same kid. But when she had her new friends, she would always default to what they wanted, what they said, what they approved of, all of that. And when we saw that, we had your experience under our belt and we saw her confidence completely soar. So we said, okay, we need to find that here. And we did. And we spent a good time going through different martial arts studios, different sort of temperaments of instructors and masters to see if we could find and replicate what you did. And we did. And she is now she will sit for her first on black belt in 2 months. Yeah.
Wow.
So we are very, very, very grateful for the experience we had with you because that let us see, oh, hey, wait, we have an issue. Let's try this because it worked before.
That's fantastic. I'm glad that you were able to find it because sometimes, yeah, I mean, it's good to do virtual, but being in person, especially now, everything is back to normal for the most part, right? Yeah. Virtual isn't always the best vehicle to deliver this. And I think it's great that you have. So nice.
Yes. Oh yeah. It took some time and it took quite a few places. We couldn't find Muay Thai, which she really wanted to do Muay Thai or go back to Capoeira, but not really. It wasn't really in this area, or the Muay Thai was actually focused on older gentlemen. So it wasn't going to be conducive to a 10-year-old. Yeah. But no, we are very happy in that the structure that was provided to her and the progress that they were able to map out and show her, like, you've done this. And then now that she has continued with it, she's also a junior leader. So at 14, she will be in the program for the instructors, for the student instructors. So again, very grateful that we had the insight with you, even virtual, that allowed us to say not only the structure of training towards a goal, but also just a daily training practice, but to understand that just because people don't speak to you like mom and dad speak to you, doesn't mean you benefit from it. Yeah. So that was a huge eye-opening thing for her.
Good. And she started with me at what age did she start? I can't remember.
Oh my goodness. They were in second grade during COVID. So 7.
7? Yeah. Okay. Well, she's been going out for a long time now. So good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah. And as she continues, it's only going to grow. And if you were to say this in one sentence, what would you say was the before version of Elise so at 7, what was that before version?
She went from being sheltered in her very secure environment to being challenged in a very different way. And that led to a lot of growth.
That's good. Yeah. So she was maybe sheltered and shy, maybe a little bit. But would you say?
Wasn't so much shy, but where she never heard a parent or an adult yell at her ever,
Sure.
right? She never heard a gruff voice. We're not gruff. Her teachers, the teachers, they don't really yell at the kids. So
Sure.
it was it was a very big shell shock of an experience. And in the beginning, she was shy when she heard that forceful
Mhm.
nature and instruction given without coercion, and it was just simply understood. And it was with a little bit louder than she was used to. And that, again, we're grateful for it because it showed her no matter the experience or no
Mhm.
matter the situation, how you behave and how you work through it, that's the important part. Not the external, what's going on. It's you. And it's how you decide to move forward with it. And now it's good.
That's good. That's fantastic. That's great. So what was that? What made you start looking into martial arts back when you reached out to me? Like, what was the reason? Why were you looking for that?
So up until then, my husband had never had any. I had. And I liked structure, right?
Okay.
So when you have young children, in my opinion, they just benefit so well from structure.
Mhm.
And the other thing they benefit well is new experiences, right? And we do as well, adults as well. And so we always challenge her and say, okay, you've never had it or you've never experienced it, then you try it, right? And so that's what we did when we were looking for different programs. We did an art program online. We did a history kind of thing. We did a math thing online. And then we did the Muay Thai online as well.
Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, that's good that you were looking for that. And what did you feel like was the reason that you wanted to challenge her? What were you looking for?
Because growth, just growth, right?
Okay.
So we are very big proponents of maintaining a growth mindset. And so that means in order to do that, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to, step up and say, well, I've never done this before. I might as well try, and have that courage or that confidence to do so. And, I know adults who don't do that. And as a parent, I wanted to make sure that even if you're not type A, in a sense, you still can grow by introducing yourself to all of these new challenges. So,
yeah, I have I don't know, it's not a painting. It's like a poster that it's like on a painting board, whatever it says.
Yeah.
If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. It's so important to have that growth mindset. I think it's fantastic that you looked for her and you continue to.
Still to this. Oh, absolutely. It's still to this day. We're choosing high schools right now. And the first thing she said is, she's an excellent student. Okay. We don't have to worry about her. She is very, very driven with regard to her education. And she came to us and said, there's a program that has a dual degree, your high school diploma and an associate's in the medical pathway.
Wow.
So it includes volunteering at hospitals, doing internships with doctors. It is a very in-depth program.
Mhm.
And she came to us and said, I want to apply for this program. And I know it's going to be intense, but if I can maintain my Taekwondo at the same time that I can do this program, I think I'll benefit from it. And it's just, again, growth mindset. That kid will challenge herself every day now. Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad that she's adopted that attitude towards growth, because it's only going to benefit her all the way through her life. Were you trying anything before martial arts? Was there anything else that you were doing? I know you had said
we didn't, not as structured. And that's, I think, it's not that it wasn't challenging. She did some gymnastics, she did ballet, all of the, I would say, normal suburban, kind of activities.
Yeah.
She did all of those. And where group sports shine, we didn't need that for her. So I'm a strong proponent in being part of a group sport, because it teaches you how to work as a team, how to rely on your teammates, how to put the entire thing in the hands of someone else and be okay with what happens. All of those things are amazing. And we did not need any more of that, because she had that experience already. We needed her to have a goal that was specifically hers, that the intrinsic motivation for her to do everyday practice without us telling her, to go up and seek assistance from masters. If she can't get a double roundhouse, whatever, she has to go and say, can you look and give me tips? That advocacy for herself would not necessarily come in a group sport setting. That would come from something that only she was responsible for doing. And so we always tell her, whether it's physical or whether it's mental, it could be artistic because she's in band as well. Whatever it may be, you have personal goals, and those goals are only going to be met or failed because of your effort. And I think specifically martial arts, because it segregates things for kids, right? It's not just this big, long, far off goal. It is, you are here in 6-8 weeks. You could be here, and here's how you're going to get there. It maps it out for them. And I think that was probably our best way to introduce her for that intrinsic motivation, that internal motivation. You can see that goal. It's not that far away. You can be the one to make the steps to get there. So again, I think you can get benefit in the group stuff as well. And that's all, we had all of that already. But for your particular program, we were absolutely looking for that internal motivation, that self-drive.
That's exactly it. I know I love group sports. I mean, I played them and, all through my younger years as well. And then I think I got the same benefit from going into martial arts. I was the only one responsible for my success or my failure. There was nobody else. So I couldn't go, well, it was because he lost the ball coming down the court, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't send that blame to anyone else. You had to look at yourself. And sometimes it's hard looking in the mirror, right?
It is. And I will tell you, I mean, she's 14. So we have all of the things that go along with 14.
Yeah.
But, and we always say, before you say but, look back, mark it down, write out what you did versus what you expected yourself to have done by this point. And really you can see, was there failure from you or was there an external, kind of thing? Because again, these are skills we teach our kid, like every parent has to teach their kid these things with something like martial arts or that individual motivation. They only have one place to look. And so it definitely helps because there are certain times where she'd be like, I'm so tired. I don't want to go to practice today, or I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, are you ready for the consequence? Because you sit for that belt in April. So just to let you know. And she will make the decision every single time to get it is like clockwork, and it's just become kind of a joke in our house because, again, that I don't know how to say it other than you have to develop that intrinsic motivation. No one can do that for you. And I think that something as individualized as martial arts, that's an easier way because it's all mapped out. It's an easier way to get there.
And I think what you said is a great takeaway for anybody listening to this or watching it is to, like what you said about but. If you say but, okay, before you say but, go back and make an account of all the things that you did versus your outcome. And was it you or was it something external to you that was out of your control? Right.
Right.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's a major takeaway that any parent should do because we definitely say but a lot, right? All of us do.
We do. And even us. And it's just one of those things where she will actually swap it around on us as well. If we say like, oh, but it's so cold right now. We don't want to go after, an after dinner walk. And she'll just look at us like, but if you, but it's good. I mean, again, parents look for as many opportunities as we can to develop or instill these, what we consider as adult basic tenets of motivation, self-drive, and all of those things. But it's a chore as a parent to find opportunities that are either safe or, trusted or stuff like that, And that's another thing, another benefit for her is, I tell you, the people who are in these individual growth kind of areas, they are usually more motivated. And so her friend group has become more of the people like her who are motivated, who are self-driven individuals, who they respect pretty much everybody. They are good with grades. You don't really have to worry about them and their grades. And then again, they're well-rounded with regard to where their motivation comes from and how they don't have to rely on others to seek that sort of, what do you call what is it? Validation? Yeah. Yeah. So they don't have to look to external friends or anything like that. Because again, I don't know if you know the state of 14 and 15-year-olds right now, but man, it just seems that they're either just so motivated by games or TikTok, like social media.
Mhm.
Our child at 14 does not yet have social media. And, whether a child does or does not, I think depends on their maturity. But our child, when I tell her stories about studies that come out, with kids, she will say, I don't need it. I don't need TikTok. Why would I need it? She's like, I would love to share, but I don't need that critique from people I don't know. I don't need that degradation. I don't need it. That is good. I mean, as long as we can hold on to that, I think it'll be beneficial. And she'll again, not have to seek validation from people she doesn't know.
Yeah, that's very mature for a 14-year-old to say.
Yeah.
I can't say that. I don't know if I would have had that maturity at 14.
Me neither.
Say something like that.
No, and don't get me wrong, she'll say like, oh, my friends just got Snapchat. Can I get Snapchat? And I'll say, okay, let's look at the research. And she'll be like, oh, I didn't know you could disappear it. So kind of those kinds of things where she doesn't know. And then a little bit of education surrounding that, she can make her own decision and say, maybe I'm not ready.
That's great that you do it that way too. You would still involve her in the decision, but help her come to a conclusion on her own. I think, again, that's another huge takeaway for anybody listening or watching this is to like maybe involve them, like get the research, like find out the fact and get some knowledge and then go, okay, what do you think that would be the best path forward?
Yeah.
And
she wanted Snapchat for Christmas. And we said, okay, let's all look at it together. And we sat down as a family. I brought some stuff. She brought some stuff. Jeff doesn't do social media, so he didn't bring anything. But, he's the old school guy.
Yeah.
No social media.
Well, I think it's good because instead of you just saying, no, you can't have it. And then they're like, well, why not? It's like anybody, like, why a no? If you go, okay, let's sit down and let's look at it. Let's look at all the facts, all the stories, and get as much information as we can to make a clear understanding and path forward. Then yeah, she made that decision of like, I guess maybe I don't need it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we did tell her, of course, that we would revisit it when she's 15, but no.
Okay. So back at 7, when she first started, 7, when you first kind of like, when you first enrolled her, what was kind of like that, I wouldn't call it a wake up call, but what was like that call to action for you to like, okay, we need to do this. This is what we need to put her in.
I think for the most part, it was just age appropriate because she's always like, we didn't have any like disciplinary issues ever with her. We are parents who have never had to physically discipline her. She's not the child for it. But we also know that we did like the way we approach things, which is very scholarly and it is very, let's have a discussion. I remember somebody else parented a little differently and it was very gruff. It was the no. It was because I said so. Mm-hmm. And she was just put out. She was like, that was very mean, Mommy. I'm like, it's not mean. It's what that child needed at that time. She just literally could not wrap her head around it. It was just a very weird kind of thing for her. So when we heard about your background, we thought, wait a minute, this is going to be a very different experience. This will be a very different discussion for her. And that was our primary motivation, honest to goodness, was, again, putting in front of her that which she did not know. And we had Erica and Brooke, who were able to tell us, oh, this is the way it is. This is, just kind of like the style. And again, it was great. But after that first session, she was like, I don't know if I want to do it. He's very loud. Because again, she just wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
So that was our primary motivation, was just, again, exposure to different things.
Was there anything before she started? Was there any fear or hesitation before that first class?
No, everything was, especially at that age, everything is like fun and new experiences. And she wasn't a shy kid because, nothing had ever really, she had no events in her life that would require anything like that. But I would say no. I would just say no, just because, we didn't really have anything problematic, I would say.
What were the first couple of weeks like? I know you talked about like after the first day, she was like, I don't know if I can, I don't know. He's kind of loud and he's, he takes a different approach than the way you guys do it. Was there anything else that kind of continued as weeks? So what were like that first couple of weeks like?
Do you remember we would have like pool noodles and then those little pads? Okay. So she was terrified and just terrified to hit somebody. because she had never hit somebody. She was never the kid that got in arguments or fights or anything physical. She was just never that child. And so I remember the first time she was just like, "You hit me with a pool noodle." I'm like, "Yeah, he told us to hit you with a pool noodle. You didn't duck." Like, And then when she got to punch the pads for the first time, man, the look on her face is something that will stay with me, only because she became like, she knew at that moment, I can't. And we, to this day, tell her, we will always support you if your actions are justified, 100%. And even if that means something physical, we have always told her we will support you. And I think it was over that course of, it was probably a few months, not a few weeks, over that course of a few months, she realized she had the power to actually hit somebody, connect with something, and be fine with it. Because I think there's so much fear with regard to people who've never been in a fight. They are scared because they don't know, okay? So we are big proponents of, you run your mouth, it's going to get knocked out, right? Or if you want to defend, you better know how to defend yourself or somebody else. If you want to advocate, you advocate with your brain. And if you need to, the other way. And I think over the course of those couple of months, she realized there is a physical, connection to what she is thinking. And again, because I think it was in that setting, we never had a problem with her hitting in anger or, with other students, or kids her age, never. But knowing that she could and knowing that she had education surrounding how to do it, again, confidence was probably just the biggest thing, because she was exposed now to, I can connect and it will do what I say it needs to do, right? So having the power to learn how to do something, what to do with your shoulder, where to place your hand, where to place your foot, all of those mechanics became like second nature. So she could focus more on the cerebral part of the whole experience. But yeah, I wouldn't say a couple of weeks, but I would say a couple of months of us doing that. I mean, she was excited to do it when we would go on vacation, when we'd run an Airbnb, because it was during COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
And we would run an Airbnb. And she got her little cousin doing it. Like, it was, you gotta do this. The little cousin was like 2. You gotta do this. It's really, and she was very excited. She did not even want to skip a session. And that, I just think, again, she felt different and empowered, right? And over those few months, that's, I think, where she just got so much benefit from it. Because she was so little, she didn't really have like a growth plan or any kind of like lesson plan to follow at that point, And at 7, I don't think she needed it, but I think it just really allowed her to make that physical to brain connection. Then I have the ability to learn this and I have the ability to do it, boosting her confidence.
It's important because everybody kind of responds to different things in different ways. And if you're, like you said, if you're running your mouth, there's somebody that might take offense to it and they might respond physically to something you're saying. And you got to understand the consequences of anything. And especially in today's climate, people are so torn opposite sides that if you say something and you don't think that's going to not affect somebody in a positive or negative way or whatever, you're going to get a response. And whatever that response is going to be, you better be able to deal with it. And if it is physical, then you got to remember, you're the one who started. If you are the one who started it, or if you escalated it, then guess what? It could happen. And you being able to know how to defend yourself because of that, then that's going to be important. And then if you want to be able to stop the situation, your verbal telling someone to stop isn't necessarily going to get them to stop. You might have to use physical force to get them to stop without the fear of like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to hit anybody, or I've never hit somebody. And now you know how to make contact and you know what it's like.
And our big thing was, yeah, sure, go, because we still have all of our equipment, right? So she'll be up there doing her kicks and doing her punches. And when it's time for sparring week, we have a sparring week probably 5 weeks in it. And last night, she came home and said, I won all 4 matches. And I said, how? And she said, well, 2 of them by brute force. But 2 of them I won because I just was smart and I followed the rules. And the other person was just so emotional and so ramped up that they basically beat themselves. And I know, and I told Jeff last night before we bet, I'm like, dude, that right there is how we know this was the right path for her. because she's very cerebral, but we need her to understand if you get so trained, you can focus on that cerebral and let them like beat themselves. And I tell you, she went to her first, what do you call it? Tournament. Thank you. I was like, what do they call it? She did her first tournament and she only entered a few things, very skills based, because I don't think she had the confidence in her sparring yet. She wins, but most of it is that cerebral. And so she's waiting for the other person. Well, the people who sign up for tournament are not the people who are emotional. They are also like her. They are practiced. They are smart. They know the rules. And so I think she was very timid to enter into those particular contests. Once she saw it, she said, I'm signing up next year. I'll get it. And it's, again, that feeling that you can connect, you can physically connect, and somebody can physically connect to you, and there's no fear because you know what's coming. Yeah. You know what's going to hurt. You train beyond it. And that has been, again, I think my kid is not a fighter. She's not a poker, an instigator, but she will not back down. And that is, I think, the confidence she has gotten to knowing, boy, you can try your best, but I'm still going to stand up.
That's good. That's good. And knowing that she can get hit and she's still okay. She can still continue and she can still fight back in a sense versus freezing or fleeing as she does.
Right. That's what we were so worried about, right? Because we went from a very chill area to Texas, and it's a very different environment, right? And so, we have, again, tried to do everything here. So now we are doing 4-wheelers. We are running through the middle of nowhere country and scrub brush and different animals and teaching her about that. We also had to teach her about physical additions that people hold. I don't know what I can say on here, but in Texas, it's a little bit more prolific. And so we have had to teach her what to do in situations where there are weapons, whether they're being brandished or not. Like, how do you react if somebody's open carrying, or how do you react at a party if a kid brings out something from their parents' closet or something? So we've had to do quite a bit more education with regard to that stuff. But again, I don't think it matters because I think she's still, that confidence she's gained where she can say, hey, this is a bad idea. You can stay here with that. We're going to head out. And she can say it with such confidence that no one will question it. And she will continue. You know what I mean? Like, she will do, even for others, what she believes is right. And she has that voice without fear.
I grew up around guns all my life since I've been a baby. I literally been around guns. But today, with the way school shootings happen and everything, I think kids being educated about guns, not so they can go buy guns, but it's just having education is so important, because I was educated about guns. All my friends that I went to school with, like every single one of them, they knew about guns. We never brought guns to school because we all knew what they were, and we all knew the play.
It wasn't exactly. And that's the other thing is, like, if you have that component, there's got to be one kid at least that says, no, this is not okay. This is not cool. And I think we have that kid. I do. I think that we have her because, partly because of her nature, but also partly because she has this confidence just to say, if you want to threaten somebody, you can threaten me, but I'm not going to back down. And she totally has that. And we love it. But again, don't get me wrong. The girl's learning to shoot. We already have her in it. So it's one of those things where more experiences, more experiences in life experience, things that are going to challenge you. She was terrified. I mean, we've always been gun owners, but it's not something you talk about with your kid, like when they're little. And when we introduced her to them, it was the same stuff you probably had. We would clean them in front of her. We would talk about safety. We would talk about magazines. We talk about loading, all that stuff. But I think it's very different now, where you can literally see at the target, a man has just got a gun on his hip, where it is in Seattle, not the case. And so we wanted to take that unknown or that fear away and say, okay, you know everything you need to know. Act accordingly. Yeah.
Good. In the beginning, how long did it take before you started to see like change in her? Like, when you first started in my program, was it like a couple months, couple weeks?
I would say a couple months. So we had between 2 and 3 sessions with you a week. So it just depended on the week. But I would say a couple months, because both she and Brooke sort of bonded over it as well. It wasn't new to Brooke because Brooke had done it before, but I think having somebody there that they could talk to about it, I would say I remember a couple of months in because it was like by her birthday. So by her birthday, I would say it was a couple months, we noticed that she just had a bit more confidence.
Was there anything like that was hard about the process? Like in the months, what was like the hardest thing that you would say?
The conditioning. So she was very excited for the kicks and the, hits and all that stuff. She didn't want to do the push-ups and that, like that's the first thing she did not want to do. Now that she's an educator in it, she works with the little kids. She's like, I promise all of these are going to make a difference in your training. And it's just, but at the time, oh, no. She didn't want to do anything except Master Jason said, I'm supposed to do this. And like, wait a minute, you have to do push-ups before you get there. You have to do sit-ups before you get there. Oh, that was the part that was the hardest part because I think little kids, they don't see that those two things are connected.
Yeah.
And, she just wanted to hit and get the pool noodles out and dodge and stuff like that.
That's good information for me because now I can go, oh, maybe I need to connect those two a little bit better.
Again, we were virtual. So in person, I think it's a little easier because everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's sitting, the guy sitting next to you, the gal sitting on the other side, everybody's doing it. And also, I know some people think competition is like a dirty word now. Mm-hmm. I don't. I want you, if you are motivated, then you're motivated to do better than the guy next to you and the gal next to you, right? So your goal, whether it's in drills or whether it's in the actual tournament stuff, sparring, your goal is to be better. And if it starts with you being better than the person next to you, that's fine. And it ends up being you challenging yourself. That's obviously the goal. But I think in person, it would have been a little bit easier because you just didn't want to get on the floor and do all those things.
And I do agree with you 100% on the competition thing. If you are going for a job, like say, especially if she's going to get into the medical field, if she's going to go in for a job interview, because she will eventually go for that. She's going to be competing against other applicants. It's going to be a fact of life. You are going to compete for that job.
Or internships, or even the best grade in the class, or you really wanted to do that volunteer work. It doesn't matter. You're always going to have something there. And again, not a bad thing. It only becomes bad if all of your motivation, in my opinion anyway, it only becomes bad if all of your motivation is external or you do things to win that you can't, hold your head up high about. Aside from that, like I really do like, again, another reason why I like team stuff, because you are all working together as a group against somebody else. And make no mistake, you're pitting skill and education or, cerebral stuff up against the other team. So yeah, I like that in person gives more of that sort of, I want to do better than them. I want to be faster. And so again, a little bit easier conditioning work in person.
It is. The person next to you is suffering just as much as you are. So
just as much.
That's why we can all suffer together.
I told her about Navy SEALs, right? And yep. I told her, I'm like, girl, when one of them fails, the rest of them step it up because they can't let him fail because the entire team will fail. And so now part of her little junior instructor stuff is she's like, see that guy? If you get out in front of him, you still lose because he's in the back. So you help him get better. Oh man, I got to tell you, like, it's nice to see after all the years of work. It's nice to see them putting it together on their own. Yeah. That's very nice.
And I think it's great that you stuck to the process. You never gave up on it and you continued to find that for her because it's so easy to quit and to just like, well, let's just move on to the thing versus sticking to something where you stick through the good times, you stick through the hard times, you stick through the like, I don't know, they're just times, right? That you stick through all of it. And then all of a sudden you get to this other end and you're like, wow, it's so different.
Again, if it works for some kids, some kids need more structure, more discipline, more conditioning versus more internal motivation. Like it's an ebb and a flow as to who's ready for what, when. And I think that's the beauty of something like martial arts because you do have the conditioning, you do have that, we're going to run you till you're exhausted. Yep. And then you also have, but when you stand up from being exhausted, now we're going to work. Now we're really going to work towards making you better. And I think having that two-prong approach with martial arts absolutely benefited my daughter. And I can see it in other people's children as well. Like the little girlfriend that started about 6 months before my daughter got her black belt and then quit. And parents were like, are you sure you want to quit? Because you've worked so many years for this. She's like, yeah, I want to do something else. she just contacted my daughter saying, hey, do you think I could come back? Do you think that they'd be okay with me coming back? Because I think being away from it, she's now seen that there's been a little bit of a difference in her, and she liked what she had before. To the day I die, I will advocate for martial arts, whether it's something mixed martial arts, but for the little ones, I would say one little practice as well. There's kids in her dojo that have already black belts by high school in karate. And so now they're moving into Taekwondo so that they can now, master at least one belt in that, and then move over to Muay Thai and, and keep going. Those are the people who are just going to succeed. You can just tell they are so driven. They are so together. They understand it's hard, but I don't know. You just see that in them. You see that they're going to be very successful.
What would you say you're the most proud of for what Elisa's accomplished?
The confidence in herself, I would say, to do anything, to try anything, and even to master something, that confidence is within her. The ability is within her. I would say that's probably my number one takeaway with my daughter was that, because again, when we moved here, the shift was remarkable. It was just, where did this child's confidence go with regard to kids, like her peers? It was mind-blowing. And so I would say in the last few years, 3-4 years, that has been the biggest thing. And the fact that she wants to continue and the fact that she wants to help others, those are all like nice little bennies on the side. But I would say the primary thing is definitely that she has the confidence in knowing the decision she is making is well thought out, is structured, and she's gotten there because she knows she could.
Any new goals for her?
Right now, it's her black belt. She wants that so badly she can taste it. She actually told me the other day that I may have already said that, but she wanted to find a Muay Thai near her because she does miss sort of that capoeira, very much more physical aspect of sort of martial arts versus Taekwondo is very structured. So she does have that goal is sort of to branch out there. And then also she wants to have a job at this dojo or one of its sisters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She wants during high school to do it because she has benefited from the high school students who have come in and taught her, right? So she, loves that they're always willing to help, loves that the kids her age do not get paid, but they're there every single 8 a.m. They're cleaning the entire place. They're working with the little peewee 3-year-olds out there for basically daycare. They're out there and they're also working with adults because they work with belts of all colors. And so she has to have the confidence to stand up to a grown man and say, maybe we can do this a little bit differently. And so she has to have that confidence to be able to say it. So again, that's what she's looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to the fact that if she continues to challenge herself, I don't care what. I care that she doesn't get she doesn't get stationary, that she continues to just keep having goals, setting them for herself, that kind of thing. Keep setting those goals for herself.
This is how I would like to end our little interview here is I have 2 parts of this. One's going to be a rapid fire 8 questions. You just pick one. That's all you have to do. And then I'll have 2 closing questions for you. And then we're all good. Okay. So let's jump into the rapid fire. So number 1, early bird, mornings or night owl household?
Early bird.
Okay. Strict routine or go with the flow?
Routine.
Backpacker or we'll figure it out?
Ooh, we'll figure it out.
Right. Encouraging pep talk or calm and direct coach voice?
Coach voice.
Family game night or family movie night?
Game night.
Texting the teacher or they'll learn from it?
They'll learn from it.
Okay. Comfort zone protector or try it anyway parent?
Try it anyway.
I think we got that one. Celebrating big wins or celebrating small reps?
Oh, we have both of them. Both of them are that's hard to choose, but I would answer both if I could.
Okay. Just a few questions that I like to ask. If you could go back to the parent you right before you started, what would you tell yourself? Or what would you tell the parent listening right now who's on the fence about should we do martial arts or should we maybe not?
Absolutely try it. Whether or not you have the good kid or the quiet kid or the boisterous kid or the kid who needs direction, the kid who needs discipline, just try it. I haven't seen a personality yet that hasn't benefited in some way from a structured practice like martial arts. So I would definitely just say, if you're on the fence, try it. Invest the money, invest the time, because it does require you, especially for the younger ones, it does require you to be in there and prompt them in the beginning. They're not going to want to do it many days, but I would say absolutely invest, because that is an investment that will pay off.
I think your choice of investment as the word, I think that's beautiful, because I think a lot of times people just say, well, we got to spend this money. It's definitely not spending money, especially if you're enrolling in a program that's not just about kicking and blocking and punching. It's an investment in their future, an investment that you necessarily won't see the rewards right up front. It's a compounding type of thing.
Absolutely.
And when you do, it's beautiful. Last question. If we do this again 1 year from today, what would make you say this year was a breakthrough year for Elise?
I would say seeking out new challenges, because primarily where her challenges are now, or education, right? She's 14. She's about to start high school next year. So I would say, number one, seeking out additional challenges in anything other than education, because she's always challenged herself there. So something along the lines of either advocacy, of speaking up for any, and again, could be a political, could be social, could be medical, whatever it may be. But I would like to see her more grow in the fact that she doesn't have to be told or given permission that she can do something, that she can just simply go out and do it. We always tell her, right? Her middle name is Danger. And we always tell her, your personality loves safety. She will challenge herself within a safe area. Not necessarily what she thinks she can do, but just those things that she knows. So what I would love to see is if she would say, hey, some friends and myself want to go to Mexico alone at 16. And I'd be like, absolutely not. However, it was good that you asked, because we are trying to teach her now, sometimes it's just better to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. Because again, we want her to create good trouble. Sometimes that's needed of a citizenry or a student, whatever it may be. And so we're trying to get her just a little bit more out of that safe zone, because she's great at trying new things if they're within a nice little expected area, I would say. So I would like to see that from her. I would like to see her bring me new challenges like that she wants to do.
I want to thank you for this. I mean, this was amazing. It was great hearing all the things that Elise benefited from, what you have gave, what you've seen. I think this is just amazing. So I want to thank you for that.
No, I want to thank you. We talk about, it is one thing I will say, we had for a long time, what would Master Jason do? Because if she saw something, do you have the confidence? You may not have the skill yet, but do you have the confidence? And that is something that I'm really grateful. And I say this all the time, even to Elise, like that was probably one of the best things we've ever done, because it introduced us to something for her that really paid off. We're 7 years now. She is 3 different practices between introduction to Muay Thai, Capoeira, and now Taekwondo, that her acknowledgement of it has been probably my favorite thing, is that she can acknowledge how she benefits.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you.